You can think of the 2015 Ford Edge as sort of a tweener crossover because this slots between the Ford Explorer and the Ford Escape in terms of overall size. Because this is larger than your average compact two-row crossover, it means we have considerably more room for child seats in the back and considerably more cargo area in the rear than you'll find in a RAV4, CR-V, or Escape. This particular child seat is a Graco Classic Ride 50 child seat. It is very average in terms of dimensions, and it is a convertible seat, which means it can be used for forward or rearward facing installations. When thinking about rearward facing child seats especially, combined legroom figures are important, and that would be front legroom plus rear legroom. And that's an area where this size category of SUV has a big advantage over the next size category down. What that means for child seats is that with that front seat in position for me at 6 feet tall, I have no problem safely installing a rearward facing child seat in the back. Again, this Graco Classic Ride 50 is a convertible seat. The ball in that little raceway is showing us that we have this seat at the proper angle, but it's not strapped into the vehicle. So if it was, it would actually be moving a little bit further rearward. But you can see we have adequate clearance between the child seat and the front seat. In modern vehicles, especially those with anti-whiplash front seats, you do want at least 2 inches between the front seat and the child seat, because in the event of a rear-end collision, you don't want the front seat to impact the child seat. Compared to your average compact two-row crossover, the Edge has much more room across the rear bench seat. That means that it's much easier to install 3 child seats across the back with some room to spare. I actually have about 4 inches or so between the side of this child seat and the door right there, and about the same amount of room between the child seat and the armrest on both sides. This means it's much easier to accommodate 3 child seats in this configuration or a combination of child seats and booster seats in the back. One thing to note is that for these child seats to be installed properly, I did have to remove the headrests from the seats, and that would be the outboard seats and the middle seat, in order for them to rest properly against the seat back. When it comes to anchors, we have 2 sets of latch anchors for the outboard seating positions and top tether anchors for all 3 seating positions. Now, our vehicle has the optional inflatable seat belt, and this is what it looks like right here. It has this larger buckle on the bottom, and this middle section of the shoulder belt is a little bit different from the rest of the seat belt fabric, and it says inflatable seat belt right here. Now, you want to make sure, if you do get the inflatable seat belts in your next Ford product, that your child seats are appropriate and compatible with the inflatable seat belt. You want to check with the manufacturer of the seat itself to say whether or not it is compatible with the inflatable seatbelt technology. Most of them out there are, however, some of them do have specific recommendations about using the seatbelt with the child seat. When you're involved in an accident, this seatbelt will actually unrip, inflate, and become approximately 3 times larger across the chest. It really makes a significant difference in an accident, and I highly recommend your next Ford product have the inflatable child seatbelt if it's available. In case you're wondering, the center seatbelt is a traditional seatbelt. It's not an inflatable belt, so if you have a child seat that's not compatible with the inflatable belt, you can just stick it right here in the middle and you'll be just fine. The other nice thing to notice here is that this middle seatbelt actually comes out of the seat itself. It doesn't come out of the ceiling like we find in some other vehicles out there. That means that it's much easier to keep the center seat in the center of the rear bench seat, allowing 2 adults to sit on either side of that child seat. When you don't need the child seats in the car, we have some significant benefits in this size of crossover as well. We have between 30 and 50% more cargo room back here than you'll find in most of those compact crossovers, again like the RAV4 or the CR-V. That means that I can push this 26-inch roller bag all the way to the back of the cargo area, grab this 24-inch roller bag, and actually put it right in front of that 26-inch roller bag and still close the hatch. I also have some additional practical features back here, like these hooks for grocery bags. We have some additional storage space under the load floor, and you will also find a spare tire back there. Obviously, with all this cargo space going on, I had absolutely zero problem jamming 3 child seats in the back. And in fact, you can put 3 child seats in the back and a great deal of cargo back there with them. That means that the Edge is the kind of vehicle where you can take 5 people away for a weekend and easily put 5 people's worth of luggage in the back, even if you're a relatively heavy packing family. That's not something you can do in your average 7-seat crossover. Your average 7-seat crossover, you can put 7 people in it, or 5 people plus 5 people's worth of cargo. You really can't put 7 people's worth of cargo in your average 3-row crossover. Thanks for taking the time to check out this video. Again, I'm Alex Dykes, and this has been the 2015 Ford Edge. Be sure and check out the complete review on the Edge on my channel as well. Click that subscribe button at the bottom of your screen, and I'll see you next week.